In the heart of the 12th century tensions, few moments were as decisive for the fate of the Latin kingdom of Jerusalem as the Battle of Jacob's Ford, fought in 1179. Today, we will dive into this dramatic episode in which Baldwin IV, the young king marked by leprosy, once again faced his great rival, Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria. Have you ever imagined what was at stake in the construction of a simple fortress in a strategic location? For Baldwin, Jacob's Ford was not just a defense, but a bold message of resistance. On the other side, Saladin saw it as a direct threat to the expansion of his power. The clash between these two giants would become inevitable and devastating. In this video, we will explore not only the battle itself, but also Baldwin's bold decisions, the mistakes made, and the impact this defeat had on the survival of the Christian kingdom amid a Middle East in turmoil. In the 12th century, the Latin kingdom of Jerusalem was a fragile Christian power surrounded by ever-strengthening Islamic forces. Founded after the First Crusade, the kingdom relied on alliances, fortifications, and military campaigns to survive. Baldwin IV, crowned while still a teenager, ruled while battling both leprosy and external enemies. On the other side, Saladin was uniting Egypt and Syria, consolidating a vast Muslim empire. In this tense scenario, every fortress, every strategic position was vital. Jacob's Ford, located on the banks of the Jordan River, became a key piece in the struggle between Crusaders and Muslims for territorial and religious supremacy in the Holy Land. Jacob's Ford, known as Vadum Jacob by the Latins, was a crucial crossing point between the Kingdom of Jerusalem and Syria. Understanding its strategic importance, Baldwin IV decided in the year 1178 to begin the construction of a fortress at the site called Chastelet. The intention was clear: to block Saladin's advance and establish a solid defensive line on the Jordan River. The construction progressed quickly, with the support of the Templars and nobles of the kingdom, concerned with the Sultan's growing power. Alarmed, Saladin attempted to negotiate. He offered considerable sums of money for Baldwin to cease construction and abandon the position. The young king, however, refused all proposals, aware that accepting would mean showing weakness. Determined, Saladin then mobilized a large army, composed of forces from Egypt, Syria, and other Muslim allies. For months, Muslim spies observed the fortress's progress, waiting for the ideal moment to attack. In August of 1179, Saladin launched his offensive. Taking advantage of Baldwin's momentary absence as he was in Jerusalem, he crossed the Jordan River with a swift and well-organized army. The Christian garrison, led by Templar knights and some local lords, resisted bravely in the first days of the siege. The builders and soldiers worked tirelessly to strengthen the defenses, but the fortress was still incomplete. Its walls and towers would not withstand a prolonged siege. Saladin ordered continuous attacks using siege towers, battering rams, and an unrelenting rain of arrows and stones. After 5 days of intense fighting, the Christian resistance began to crumble. In a coordinated assault, Muslim forces breached the walls and invaded the interior of the fortress. The hand-to-hand combat was bloody and desperate. Many Templar knights fell, defending every room, every corridor. When the fortress finally fell, the scene was one of devastation. Hundreds of defenders were killed. The survivors, mostly captured Templars, were executed by Saladin's order as an exemplary punishment for those who dared to challenge his rule. Few managed to escape to bring news of the tragedy to Jerusalem. Baldwin, upon receiving the news, was devastated. Despite his disease advancing slowly, the young king immediately prepared a military response, but it was already too late to retake Jacob's Ford. Saladin ordered the complete destruction of the fortress to prevent it from being used again by the Crusaders. The Sultan also reinforced his positions along the Jordan, increasing the pressure on the already fragile kingdom of Jerusalem. The defeat at Jacob's Ford was a harsh blow for Baldwin. The loss of so many knights, the destruction of the fortress further weakened the Christian position in the Holy Land. Internally, tensions arose among the noble factions, some blaming the king for excessive boldness, others lamenting the lack of timely reinforcements. However, even after this bitter defeat, Baldwin would not give up resisting. His determination to keep Jerusalem in Christian hands would only intensify, as would the fame of his courage in the face of adversity. The victory at Jacob's Ford was widely publicized in Saladin's lands as proof of divine favor and the legitimacy of his leadership. With the destruction of the fortress, he secured control of the Jordan frontier and could focus his efforts on future campaigns against the very heart of the Latin kingdom. The morale of his soldiers was renewed, while that of the Crusaders suffered a hard blow. Despite everything, Baldwin acted with impressive energy and diplomacy. Aware that a direct offensive against Saladin would be disastrous at that moment, he sought to consolidate alliances with neighboring Crusader states and strengthen ties with the Templar and Hospitaller Knights. The king also oversaw the construction of new defenses in strategic locations, trying to compensate for the loss of Jacob's Ford. Attempts to reorganize the kingdom's defense, however, encountered obstacles. The internal division among noble factions, especially between the supporters of Raymond III of Tripoli and the followers of Guy of Lusignan, began to create dangerous cracks in central power. Baldwin, still young but politically astute, tried to balance these tensions to maintain stability. In the memory of chroniclers like William of Tyre, the loss of Jacob's Ford was seen as a tragic symbol of the uneven struggle faced by Christians in the Holy Land. In his words, the courage of the defenders was praised, but the recklessness of trying to hold an indefensible position was also criticized. For William, the episode revealed both the military and political fragility of the kingdom. However, not everything was defeat. The bravery of the knights who fell at Jacob's Ford became an example of resistance, inspiring future generations of Crusaders. And Baldwin, even physically affected by disease, remained an indomitable figure of leadership, setting the stage for new confrontations with Saladin in the years to come. The destruction of the fortress thus marked not only a military defeat, but also a turning point in Christian strategy. The lesson learned was bitter. The importance of carefully choosing where and how to resist, of not overestimating one's own strength in the face of an increasingly organized enemy. Even with the weight of defeat, Baldwin did not let fear take hold of him. In the years that followed, he would demonstrate remarkable skill in defending Jerusalem, achieving unexpected victories like the famous Battle of Montgisard, where once again he would face Saladin with bravery and unwavering faith. Baldwin, defying the limits imposed by leprosy and the fragmented politics of his kingdom, emerged from this tragedy as an even more resilient leader. His ability to withstand not only Saladin's weapons, but also internal intrigues and his own physical limitations made him a unique figure among Crusader monarchs. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video. Leave a comment about which episode of Baldwin IV's life you'd like to see next, and subscribe to the channel for more historical content.